Today's episode of Nerd Soup is sponsored by NordVPN. Right now, you can get 68% off a 2-year plan plus 1 additional month for free when you go to nordvpn.com/nerdsoup or use code NERDSOUP. This special offer makes your subscription just $371 per month. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Beau Oliver, joined today by Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are back for The Boys Season 2, Episode 6 review, The Bloody Doors Off. Apparently, they've been taking these titles from the comics. Did you read them yet?
The comics?
Yes.
No.
Great.
The world still needs superheroes. So let's get out there. Let's take these cocksuckers down.
We are famous now.
Don't you worry. Daddy's home.
Alright, so The Bloody Doors Off, Episode 6 review, and you on Twitter, nice little plug for you, Nerd Soup Monkey, that this was probably the best episode of the season. Not probably. You said it was.
Yeah, definitely. I love this episode. Everything from the Frenchie flashbacks, getting more into Frenchie and how that Lamplighter incident affected him all these years. We got some more insight on that. We got more insight on Lamplighter. He just showed up, which we probably should have picked up on when he was playing with the lighter.
It's got like the Lamplighter name tag.
Yeah.
We're like, who is this mysterious man?
Why did they show the lighter and stayed on it for a little bit? The Chekhov's gun scenario where that's going to come into play. And
exactly.
It did. Next
and
episode.
You think of Season 1, it's kind of a throwaway. Lamplighter's retiring. It's just an opening up a spot for Starlight, our new main character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you kind of just, it's in the back of your memory. You forget about it. Why did he retire? Did he retire in ignominy like the Deep or A-Train? Or did he retire because he couldn't use his powers anymore? No, he retired because he was scarred by what he did to Mallory's grandchildren. And that's always been one of the main motivating factors for Frenchie. And we saw it in the last episode where he's trying to help Kimiko, and he feels that he can kind of wash away his sins if he does help Kimiko. And yeah, just getting the insight, like you said, with Frenchie's flashbacks, learning more about Lamplighter. It was a very emotional episode, especially for Frenchie. And he's such a sweetheart. Everyone loves him. So you hate to see him go through that.
Yeah.
And it was tough to watch. Definitely was.
Yeah, and also everything in that psychiatric ward was pretty phenomenal. Just trying to figure out what Vaught's trying to do with these people, and we learned Stormfront's connection with everything going on there, and I don't know, it was just all very intriguing. And like I said on our other podcast, not a boys podcast, but I always just love when we get introduced to new soups and seeing what their powers are, and it's everything from being able to crush someone's head and have a Mr. Fantastic dick.
Well, yeah, right. We'll get into that. getting strangled by it. Got the super dick. Hit you with the super dick. We learned that what they're doing at this facility, the Sage Grove facility, what they're doing, that they're experimenting with Compound V. They're trying to stabilize it so that they can inject it in a human being. They don't have to wait for a baby to grow and develop into a person. They could just get the soup right there at Prom of Your Life and create a soup army. We learned more about Stormfront, her background, that she was born in 1919 in Berlin. So, of course, she's a Nazi, just like Frederick Vought. And we saw her hanging out with the Nazi inner circle, which was funny.
Yeah, the whole gang there. You had Goebbels, you had Himmler.
Rubbing elbows with Himmler.
Yeah, and I mean, that drives over to Homelander. I mean, he really is like Hitler's wet dream. Talk about Aryan.
Blonde, blue eyes,
yeah.
super powered. And it goes back to what the Nazis were trying to do. We saw it in Overlord, that they were trying to create super soldiers. Here is the super soldier.
It also just speaks to how incompetent Hitler was as a leader. I mean,
I know, he had a whole fucking team of all-stars. He had the Bronx Bombers.
You couldn't win the Battle of Britain adding Stormfront to your Luftwaffe, and you still get washed?
What do you think her hero name was?
Probably something stupid like Blitzkrieg.
Blitzkrieg.
And also, I mean,
Nazi girl.
It's another feather in Churchill's cap, if you think about it. I mean, say what you will about the man. He swatted Nazis like Mutombo, man. Put Stormfront in that mix, and he's still playing that defense?
It adds to the legacy.
Mm-hmm.
He was the Coach Pop of the Allies. Just knew how to get around the superstars. And at first I thought Homelander was going to pull we always like that panel from the comics where Red Skull and Joker meet. Mm-hmm. And Joker says, I may be a psychotic killer.
It's a lunatic killer, but I'm an American.
yeah, Red Skull offers to team up, and he says no, he punches him. And I thought at first Homelander in the back of his head was thinking, listen, I'm an awful human being, but like you said, I'm an American first. I'm not teaming up with a fucking Nazi. I thought he was really offended by all that information. And Stormfront took the chance because, like Stormfront, Homelander is a man kind of caught between two cultures. And she mentions that this is a cultural war. If only somebody would just be nice to Homelander. Just go into his trailer, accept the flowers. Maybe we could avoid dictator Homelander. That's really what he wants, right?
He's a despicable person, and I hate him, but I got upset.
I felt bad for him.
With the lonely room with the flowers. God, he's trying to be nice to his Nazi girlfriends.
Well, they share that moment in the beginning, too, where they just crush that man's head and start banging. So the things that they get off on, they're a match made in heaven, apparently, at the end, because it looks like they are going to team up.
What do you think that guy's thinking? He's like, all right, I mean, I'm sorry I made a crime, but it's like, this is a little weird here.
He's not even afraid of his life. He's just, kill me. I don't want to be a part of this. But the facility, you mentioned it, that when they all do break out, it is very cinematic, and we see the hero. We were wondering, how did Stormfront zap Rainer's head like that, just make it explode? And we could see that the hero has that power. And when she comes out of that room, and MM says, we ain't his friends, fuck him up. But no, she starts to fuck up everybody, and they get scared. They have to run away. I thought it was a great infiltration as well. Them in the costumes. Kamiko was very funny this episode, telling Frenchie to get in the bed.
What did her breast knuckles say?
Bossy.
Bossy.
He's like, that's what you spent your blood money on? And she just shines it off on her shirt. It was fantastic. But we definitely got more into Frenchie. Of course, the opening scene is a flashback that takes place 8 years ago. We see Sherry and one of his friends, Jay. And we see they have that back and forth about how they're the Golden Girls. And Frenchie is offended when he asks, oh, are you Betty White? Oh, what a fucking question.
Yeah, of course he is.
Of course I'm Betty White. And we also learned that it was because he was assigned to track Lamplighter. And it looks like they were blackmailing him 5 years ago. Mallory, Butcher, and
Blackmail and the boys?
Blackmail and the boys.
Don't say.
And his job was to trail him, but he got the call from Jay that Jay was overdosing, so he goes to save his other friend, leaves them behind, and realizes that Lamplighter already made the mistake of burning Mallory's kids. And from Lamplighter's perspective, this is a character who's been suffering all this time. He makes this tragic mistake, it weighs on him, and what does he do? He gets forced into retirement to do the same thing over and over and over again, dispose of the evidence. So Frenchie says to Mallory at the end, he's suffered enough. Mm-hmm. There's nothing you could do to him that will hurt him more than he's already hurting.
I liked also seeing like the old boys. Like it's like
slick
your hair back. That's 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, with Frenchie too, it's kind of more insight into how he's viewed. I mean, he wasn't invited to the services, the funeral services, because they blame him for what happened and what not tracking Lamplighter and stopping him from committing this act. Even Mother's Milk says like, you should have told us, we would have understood differently.
And he makes the point, what does it matter? Because he feels that he's let down both sides. And that's really the tragedy of this character, that he's caught between these two battles. The personal battle of helping his friends and the battle of helping the world. And that was interesting. I think this episode also kind of softened my stance on Kamiko's revenge plot. Because a lot of these characters, that's their motivation. It's they've been wronged by Vought in some way, and that's why they're trying to take down this world. I would love to see a character that's just doing it because it's the right thing. There's just someone out there like, hey, my family's fine. No one's ever bothered me. My grandparents are both alive.
Starlight, in a sense.
Yeah. There were a lot of great scenes between Starlight and Butcher in this episode. That's a relationship I loved.
It takes for her killing a pretty much innocent person to be like, I like this girl. She's okay.
Yeah, that was a tough scene.
Mm-hmm.
And she even tells Butcher that the only thing I was thinking was, you stupid motherfucker, for pulling out that gun. She's becoming numb to it. And they've touched on that a lot in this season, the disease of vengeance, how it just consumes you. It makes you numb to the loss of life. That's an innocent man. She looks over to her side. He's got a car seat in the back, and it's all about helping Huey. The bigger picture has kind of just absorbed them all.
Definitely. Yeah, but I did love those scenes. And they share that bond of like wanting to protect Huey.
Right.
So that was nice.
But she does confront him, saying that you hate me because of what's inside of me, even though I'm trying to help you, and that you remind me of another man that wears a star-spangled bannered cape. He just respects when people talk shit.
Yeah, but I thought all those were great. I think that was a strong suit of this episode, is getting more insight into different characters, their relationships, and obviously with Lamplighter, Frenchie, and with Starlight and Butcher. Not much Huey because he was bleeding out for a big part of the episode, but he's all right.
And the individuals who are being experimented on, once again, more Vought victims. When the young adult character comes out and he has that power to kind of just force project.
Yeah.
And Billy makes the decision to kill him. It's one of those, what are you supposed to do? This is an individual who is a victim, but it looks like he has no control of his abilities. And he almost kills Huey.
Yeah.
So it's just a fucking sticky situation all around.
Definitely. Are Stormfront and Edgar on the same page here? Because obviously she knows Vought and knows what his true intentions were or what the reasoning for Compound V was originally. And that is to create an army of super soldiers to, I guess, fulfill...
They're literally Hydra.
Yeah, to fulfill, I guess, Hitler's and Nazi Germany's
his
vision.
Destiny.
Yeah.
The superior race taking over, but now the superior race are superheroes.
And is Edgar more just, I want to just run this business as efficiently as possible, or is he a Nazi? Or is Stormfront kind of like, did he come to Stormfront knowing his relationship with Vought to try to get some more insight into, I guess, Compound V, and maybe maybe his plan is to take the Compound V and inject it with adults to kind of create his own army for something else, where she's just like, well, yeah, we agree with this, but I'm also gonna maybe try to undermine you at a later stage and make a Nazi army.
I think so, yeah, and I think that might be something we see in Season 3. Because like you said, they're both headed to the same goal. I think you're correct with that, where they want to create the army. Let's make the army, and then we'll fight over who gets to lead it. Because we saw the scene with Stan Edgar and Homelander. He doesn't seem to be the biggest Homelander fan. He's not going to be the guy who says, this is your destiny, Homelander. You're fulfilling Vaught's destiny. So that may be Stormfront's play. If I have Homelander on my side, Stan Edgar is still a threat, because he does wield the power of this company, and I'm sure he has superheroes backing up Blackmore. So it's going to be interesting to see that internal battle. But the idea of them forming a superhero army is fucking awesome, because I want to see the battle. It's like, okay, what is Butcher going to whip up? Butcher's got a couple soups on his side now.
Well, we see the opposition from other soups, obviously Starlight, but we saw Maeve. She told Elena last episode that we need to bring Homelander down, and she retrieved the video from the
crash.
Deep.
Yeah, the Deep helps her out there.
I was like, yeah, I got a couple halibut there. They're crazy guys.
Right, and we mentioned on the last podcast that it wasn't going to be a moment where she confronts Homelander with her powers. It was going to be some sort of blackmail, and that's what it was. I'll release this footage on CNN. I'll take you down with me unless you leave us alone, and Elena is the one who discovers that footage. I think that's the only criticism I would have with this episode, that it was kind of lazy. Where's your phone? I'm ordering Postmates. Oh my God, this horrible video, you just left it out like this? But hey, that's an interesting play, and I don't think it's going to work.
Well, I think sooner or later we'll get Homelander on the opposition of the public. You know, it always is like a big thing when an American icon or hero gets shown to be not what the public perceives. You know, like Tiger Woods, Lance Armstrong, the guy from Subway. So it's interesting to see how that dynamic will work.
Mike Trout?
So it's interesting to see what the public's reaction to this is, how soon that happens, and what Homelander's move is after that.
And the Deep, once again, is trying to indoctrinate other members of the Seven into his cult. He tried with Maeve. She said, what do you think, I'm fucking dumb? A-Train is somebody who is, Alistar mentions, this is the first time that we see Alistar interacting with other characters. That's not an infomercial. And he says, hey, you're in 7-figure debt. You've got this heart condition. They want to kick you out. We can help you. So I think it's more of A-Train is a smarter character than the Deep, but he may be more desperate because he has genuine problems that he needs to take care of.
I like how their Jim Jones Kool-Aid is Fresca.
You want a Fresca?
Fresca, by the way, very underrated soft drink.
What does it taste like? Is it like a Sprite?
It's like Super Sprite.
Super Sprite?
It's more citrusy. It's good. It's like healthier. It's like a seltzer, but it's like, it tastes like a soda. I don't think there's any sugar, any carbs, and it's just delicious.
What are you trying to do to me here? Trying to get me in this cult?
I'm just trying to...
Pull one out of your pocket?
I'm just trying to give people the gift of Fresca. That was a funny scene, too, when the Deep is, like, airing his grievances to A-Train, and he's giving him those looks.
That was fucking funny, dude. He's like, I've always hated you. You've derailed my entire career. I've fantasized about drowning you over and over again. A-Train's like, huh?
Yeah.
He is such a simple character.
He really is.
I want to talk about the character Cindy, because at the end we see that she does escape, she hitchhikes, and she gets away. And before Stormfront came back, it looked like she was trying to communicate with the boys. We don't know what, if she was just going to make the move to kill them, but Stormfront returns, zaps her, but she does escape.
Yeah.
So you're wondering if that's going to be... I would imagine she's going to be a character that's on the side of the boys moving forward. And her powers seem pretty... They were genuinely scared, dude. Mother's Milk was... His reaction to superheroes is always the best. See, that's what was missing from the later seasons of Game of Thrones, that those big moments should scare these characters.
Yeah.
Mother's Milk, he is always terrified of what's about to happen. And he continues to be my favorite character in the show.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what side she's on. I mean, you would think she's against Vought and would align with the boys, but like you said, just the psychological, like, trauma of these people that were in this facility. You know, you don't know. Maybe she just has a hatred for the world and isn't on anyone's side and kind of just wants to kill everybody. I wonder how her powers would work against someone like Stormfront or Homelander.
Right, could they resist that?
Yeah.
That's what I'm excited to see, because at the end of the day, I'm a superhero fan, so I want to see these superheroes use their abilities at full strength.
Yes.
And I think that will be very cool to see. And, you know, had similar vibes to Logan with all the kids being experimented on. These are obviously adults. I would love to see Love Sausage get back in the...
Who's Love Sausage?
He's the dude that attacked Mother's Milk.
Oh,
Yeah, come on, man.
what a name, huh?
I'm swinging that around. Be a bit of a drag, but...
What about Lamplighter going forward? What do you think? Is he going to join the boys?
Well, that was interesting, where she says, what do you suggest that we do with him? The boys always have a plan. Another mole, similar to Starlight, but it seems like it's going to be something other than that. You don't want to kind of just do that again. Now we have 2 moles spying for us. I don't know, it may go back to his retirement. Why was he pushed into retirement? What else does he know? Because he may have more information to give. So that will, and I just want to say, Layla Robbins as Mallory, she's fantastic. She is a great actress. That scene where she's trying to convince Frenchie to fight with her, got great charisma.
Yeah, definitely.
Great screen presence.
And it's kind of like more insight into how the boys were constructed in their earlier days.
Right.
Where she was the colonel of this team to kind of track and keep Soups in line. And, you know, you have Billy, Mother's Milk, and Frenchie. And she was drawn in by his ingenuity with how to subdue Soups with his Xanax bomb.
Right, yeah. And she even mentions to Butcher in that flashback that she doesn't think that this is a good idea. So you could see why she kind of blames all of them. Frenchie for not tailing, Mother's Milk just being there, I guess, and Butcher for coming up with this plan. But it's cool to see her back in the mix, because you mentioned that they'll need that sort of connect. It could have been Raynor, but her head exploded. So now they have Mallory. And she's another character who's motivated by vengeance.
Yeah.
We'll see what plans that they have for him moving forward.
He looks very familiar. Who?
Shawn Ashmore is the
Okay.
actor's name, and he actually plays Iceman in the X-Men movies. So that was a nice little Easter egg. You get the actor who plays Iceman to play Lamplighter.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
All right, guys, that is our review for The Boys Season 2, Episode 6, The Bloody Doors Off. And, of course, we will be back for our spoiler discussion for this week's episode. We'll have a lot to talk about, and we're not sure if it's going to be Teddy or Marissa. So that'll
Vote
be a
in
nice...
the comments.
Yeah, just vote. Vote 2020. Vote Teddy or Marissa. And we'll see you next week.
I vote for Teddy. He seems like someone I can get a beer with and just hang out with.
I vote for Marissa. She's a little aloof, but she'll get the job done. And of course, we would like to thank our sponsor for today's video, NordVPN. It's safe to say that today's world is a bit chaotic, especially on the internet, with the possibility of video apps being banned in certain countries and hackers taking control of people's video chats and online meetings. Now is the perfect time to sign up for NordVPN. And the service is right in the name, VPN, a virtual private network that keeps your information safe. Rather than signing into a public network where things like your IP address, private passwords, and banking information can all be exposed, Nord's private networks use military-grade encryption to keep your information safe. Plus, Nord has thousands of servers in over 61 countries worldwide, which gives its users the rare opportunity to access content from all over the world. Let's say a show is streaming in the UK and you're living in the US, all you have to do is sign into one of Nord's UK servers. Available in both Android and iOS apps, Nord allows you up to 6 simultaneous connections so that your information can be safe regardless of the device. Smartphone, laptop, desktop, everything is protected with Nord. And do not forget, you can get 68% off a 2-year plan plus 1 additional month for free when you go to nordvpn.com/nerdsoup or use code NERDSOUP. This special offer makes your subscription just $3.71 per month. So don't wait, experience the peace of mind of internet security today with Nord.